5 p.m. September 10th, Sunday. Power is out. I've been running the generator. And this is just the prelude. Wind is coming from that direction right now. And it's getting a little bit nasty. But we're not going to get the full brunt of this thing until close to midnight. I'm really excited. Not. Yes, I've got the car snugged up in front of the house, where it might be a little safer. The rubber tree is definitely getting beaten around, along with foghorn, staghorn underneath it, which you really almost can't see over the car. And I'm not going any further out than this. After the storm, thanks to a miracle or two, the patio is still here, the house is still here. Spoiled cat is still here. And in general, the worst damage to this neighborhood, miraculously, was a bunch of fallen branches and a few fallen trees. One of those trees happened to be one of mine, and thankfully it fell away from the house instead of on it. It was the one that shaded this patio in the afternoon. But as of now, it's piled out by the street, waiting for the county to come and pick it up. The hurricane party is over. We survived. And now for the after-hurricane party, I thought I'd do up a corned beef. This is a nice 4-pound corned beef round. And instead of just baking it, I decided I'm going to smoke it. It'll bake for about 4 hours, and for the first hour of that, I'm going to do it over some hickory. So let's get this puppy washed up. Now, after a thorough bath, it's basically ready to go. For this part of the cook, I'm not going to put any seasonings on it at all. I'm just going to drizzle a little EVOO all over it and coat it with it, mostly just to help keep it moist. And that's that. Now we go have a talk with Mr. Grill. And out on the patio, the noise you hear is the rain. Get this piece fired up. Fire in the hole. And don't forget to throw in the hickory, which I should have put in before I lit it, right? Let the beast warm up for a little while. Come on now. I want to get it up to temperature and get it smoking before I put the corned beef in here. Alrighty, got some smoke going. You might notice the absence of the classic glass front, which committed suicide a few months ago for unknown reasons. Set this puppy in here. This is an indirect cook. The heat is all over here where the wood is. Now I will stabilize it at 300 degrees and let it go for an hour. Then we'll move on to step 2. Okay, it's been an hour. It's got some nice smoke on it. And yes, it's raining like crazy. Come on. Now it's time to cover it up, put it back in, and let it steam for about 3 more hours. Pour in the sacrificial here. That's it. Cover it up. And put it back in. And it'll go at 300 degrees for another 3 hours. And just for the record, it's been 3 weeks now and the county still hasn't picked up our storm debris. I think they bit off a little more than they could chew. While that's cruising along, I can do a little prepping for a side dish. I'm keeping it simple with a sauteed cabbage and noodle dish that I stole from Stacy. I'm using about a half a head of cabbage, a small onion, and it'll be about a cup and a half of noodles that'll go into it. So I can get this all sliced up. Get over there. Now I'll quarter the cabbage. And cut the core out of it. About thusly. That's the tough part. Nobody wants that. And now I just cut it into something like between 3/4 and 1/2 inch wide slices, which seems to work well. I may or may not use all of this, depending on how it looks when I get it in the pan. Cabbage gets a whole lot smaller when it cooks. The corned beef is done, and it needs to rest for about 20 minutes, which is about enough time to do the cabbage and noodles. I have the noodle water boiling. My cooktop is out of level. I've got 3 tablespoons of butter in here, and I'm going to add, well, the last of this bottle, about a teaspoon, which was about what I wanted anyway, of sesame oil. And then throw in the onion. a little salt to help bring the moisture out. And I'll let this go over medium-low heat just until it starts to get a little transparent. That's about where I want it. So now I'll start throwing in the cabbage. Breaking it apart. This stuff cooks down a lot more than you would think it would. So what looks like too much generally isn't. That's it. Throw it all over the stove. I'll add about maybe a teaspoon of celery salt. A teaspoon of basil. And a healthy sprinkling of granulated garlic. Maybe another teaspoon. And just because I can, thanks to Chef John, a sprinkle of cayenne. Just enough to add flavor. And we'll get this all started together. Keep the heat on a medium-low and try to keep it all in the pan. Cat, seriously. You have your treats already, you're just refusing to eat them. He walks off in a huff and leaves the house. We'll go out and sulk on the patio. So we'll just let this go for a little while. Cover it up. And let it steam for 10-15 minutes. The noodles are done whenever they reach the level of tenderness that you prefer, which in my case is about 20 minutes or so, which is about now. Then the noodles are just about ready to go in. And we dump them in, mix them all together, and I'll just let them sit and mingle for a few minutes over low heat. Okay, now let's take a closer look. Oh, yes. Come to me. Mm-hmm. Just the perfect touch of smoke. Juicy. Fork tender. If I keep this up, I'll have eaten the whole thing before I get it on a plate. And let's put this together. And it's time to assemble. Some corned beef. some cabbage and noodles. Decadent, but really good. With just a splash of smoky paprika. Some tomato wedges for a little acidity. With some blue cheese to nibble on. And a little drizzle of some au jus made from the pan drippings, thickened with a little bit of arrowroot. And some homemade from scratch biscuits, fresh out of the Pillsbury can. And of course, there must be the champagne. Although this is a champagne substitute because Busch was on sale and I'm cheap. If you will excuse me, I do have piggery to commit.